She runs that for me, and that way we archive things, Which, Miss Leah, you'll get a kick out of this. A few years ago, Miss Leah told me, and this is an "I told you so" moment. She told me, she said, "Preacher, better somehow save all of our sermons and messages that are on Facebook, because you never know what might happen someday." And then I get an email saying, "Guess what? We're changing policies, and we're going to be deleting all your old live streams. All the." And I'm like, and all I can think of is Miss Leah tried to tell me. Had I listened, and I think that was probably 3 or 4 years ago you told me that. Had I listened to her then, I would have only been dealing with, 3 or 4 years. Now I'm having to deal with like a whole slew of stuff, I've been all this week, I have been trying to archive, and, I know. Yeah. And see, what happened was, yep. When we first started live streaming, we were on Facebook only. And Robert, when we first started, we had an iPad we set in a cardboard box and just let it run, And we've tried to upgrade it and be a little better with it over the years. But we started in 2016. And from 16 through 2020, it was just Facebook. So that means there's 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So part of 16, part of 20, about 4 years worth that I've been having to go back and deal with. Now in 2020, we had COVID, and we changed some things, and we actually started doing Facebook and YouTube. So that puts it on 2 areas, and thankfully right now YouTube is not pressing us, but it could happen. So anyhow, long story short, I've been trying to get all this because there's a lot of memories attached to that. I mean, it may not, to me, it's important. There's a lot of memories. And as I've been walking through this stuff, man, there's times I look at that and I think, man, that's great memories. Others, that was a hardship there, but man, God led us through all of it, You can buy those, you buy them, yep, and just store them. And that's what we're going to have to do. I've got them saved on my PC, but it's a lot of room, So. Nope, that's it. It is. But I had to do something just because they're fixing to start, and I wanted to get it. So anyway, this past week I've been dealing with that, and that's been a lot. But yep. Well, thankfully, as far as I can tell, I've gotten everything that we've had up there from 2016 up through the start of COVID. So everything that's Facebook only, I've got. Now we need to get 2020 on, but like I said, that is also on YouTube as well. So we've got 2 areas there to deal with. So it's not as bad, it's not as pressing. I'm sorry? I see it. Which leads me though to the last thing I was going to just mention this morning is we already talked about it a little bit, but social media. And I believe that it's a great tool. I really do. It is a tool that can be used for good. Now, there's a lot of danger. There's no doubt. But it can be used for good too. Sort of like, television and things like that. I know there's a lot of danger, but at the same time, I've also seen people put out some very good gospel presentations and good content too. Years ago, I don't know if it was ever shown here. It may have been, but back in the 70s and 80s, there was a very famous or popular video on hell that had been produced and shown to a lot of churches. It might have even been on reel to reel even. You may have, it's back in the 70s or so. It's been a while. But the point I'm making is people they tried to get the message out. And my purpose of using like YouTube and Facebook is to get the message of Christ out to people and try to reach people and all that. And it's good. It's helpful. And I think we need to engage people where they are, no doubt. So long story short, I'm just thinking of ways we can reach people. Now, one is like we're talking about the tent. We got to get on that this spring, as people are getting out and about. We got to get on that. Door-to-door visitation, things like that. Those are things that are just indispensable. And We got to work at it. And then as well as things like social media. And I'm even thinking this. I've been trying to just brainstorm a few ideas along the way and just some things that I want the Lord's guidance in it all. I'd love to pray about it. Maybe the Lord will stir up some hearts, but I'd love to see if I could encourage maybe a group of our seniors, for example, to, did you know that they still make phone books? You know that? Phone books. Well, we get them here from time to time. About once a year, they'll send one. And ain't nothing to it, but I'm thinking, what if I could get a group of some of our seniors who cannot physically go out and walk down the roads, but they could run a phone? And what if we went down, just took an old school phone book, and I know a lot of people have cell phones and all that now, everybody does, but you just go down the list from A to Z and just take a few weeks or whatever to do it. And the Stanfield Locust phone book and all is only about that thick. You know, it's not like this, it's like this. And we just went A to Z and just, call people, left them a message probably or whatever, and say, we're from Friendship Baptist Church, wonder if we could pray with you about anything, invite you to church, tell you about the Lord Jesus, whatever. And just things like that. And those are tools we can use, no doubt about it. And I think some of our seniors, Miss Pat, I should have set it up for her to talk to us on the phone today, but Miss Pat Weimer's in her 80s, and so her health has, declined over the years. She's not able to physically do things, but that like I could go out and do, physically speaking. But the woman loves God, and she's a spiritual giant. And she tells me often, she makes opportunities. She says you have to make opportunities. She says I get people scamming me all the time. They'll call me up. Can we buy your house? She says when they call me and say, are you interested in selling your house? She says I just tell them, well, no, but can I tell you how you can have a free home in heaven? And she will. And she says a lot of times they'll hang up on her. But sometimes they'll listen to her, and or somebody will call her and want to give her a credit card or whatever, whatever it is they doing. But she uses those moments. And you know what I'm saying? We can use those moments. We can use things like that, whether it be scammers or something. Admittedly, I haven't been real spiritual about scammers lately. I usually play with them, I've been trying to make up, like somebody the other day asked me if I wanted Medicare benefits, and I'm thinking, how old do you think I am yet? I'm not, I'm only in my 40s, but you want Medicare benefits. And then I say, I'll mess with them. I'll say, they'll say, what do you have? I say, well, I have parts A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I, and then they just keep on going like they didn't even hear me. And they'll say, well, how old are you? I'll say, I'm 152. They usually hang up on me by that point, Exactly. I should be a little more spiritual, I guess, But my point is there's opportunities everywhere. And we can use different avenues, whether it be the phones, the scammers, different things like that. Of course, door to door, obviously. And we'll talk about social media in just a second. I'll tell you something else that I want you to pray about, really pray about. I would love for us, I was thinking just yesterday, I was like, Lord, we need to do some open air preaching. We do. We need to do some open air preaching. I need to do some open air preaching, and we need to jump in this thing, just do it together, open air preaching. And just getting out where people are, open air preaching. And so we need to work on these things. You know what I mean? Just work on it and try to reach the public for Christ. So pray about these things, all right? But God willing, I want to, even as a church, I want us to, as the weather it's already getting warm now. It's going to be in like in the 80s, like 85 degrees today or something. We're going to have I'd like us to have like a church picnic and open air service out here, as we have pretty days coming up. Yeah. Get the pollen going. That's it. I'm with you on that. And anyway, stuff like that. But I want to do things like that. That'd be good for us. But but open air meetings to invite people to and things I think would be good. Mr. Spurgeon used to preach open air meetings often. He'd go out in fields and places and people congregate and he'd preach. People get saved. We've got to do it. But social media again is a great tool, and it is a tool, and it can be a tool, and we should use it as a tool. If you're on social media, then by all means use it for the Lord. If you're on it, use it for the Lord. People love to share things. I see stuff all the time. If I'm scrolling through or something, and I can't tell you how often I've seen a recipe for something. I don't mean I click on all of them, but just but every now and again, and I don't do the recipes, but every now and again I'll see one that says, "Man, that looks good," and I'll be sending it to the ladies, like, "Y'all got to make this. Hey, y'all read into this. Tell me what this is about." But people share stuff. Well, we can share things for the Lord, and we ought to. Um, and so I would encourage that. Um, help me know different ways or different things that we could content that we can put out for people in a good way to help people where they are scripturally and spiritually. People getting saved, obviously. Helping people with just Bible questions and things for their lives. How many of you know everybody's got burdens, right? And the Lord tells us, and we can put those things out there for people. I would love to ask. I'm hoping. I'd love if folks in our church would love to share their testimonies in a way that we could share and put online. I would like to do that, and I'll work with anybody who wants to. But if you'd like to share a testimony, we can record it and then edit it and get it nice and clean, get everything looking good, and put it out there for people. If people like to. But ways that we can engage folks on social media. Um, But nevertheless, we just got to work at it. When we have youth meetings or revival service, whatever around here, we've in the last few years been getting into the habit of actually purchasing Facebook advertisements, because for very cheap, inexpensively, it will literally show the ad to people within a given area. You choose the area, and you can reach hundreds, if not thousands, of people's accounts by with a few dollars of advertisement. And I think it's wonderful. Some of you may remember a couple months ago, Will gave me this idea. We totally ripped this idea off another church, but if I see a good idea, I will gladly plagiarize. I promise you I will. So if a church doesn't want me plagiarizing, they better not do it, because I'm probably going to steal it, But and we did this, and it was a blessing. We bought a Facebook advertisement. I recorded a short, 10-second, 15-second video and put it out as a Facebook ad that you could watch the video. And what it was inviting people to let us pray for them. And if they wanted to send in a prayer request or something. And we had people that did. And every time somebody would send in a prayer request, we targeted our local area around here. So it wasn't like people in Russia or China or something, although that's not wrong, but we were just trying to deal with the people in our backyard. And every time they did, we took the prayer requests, and I would voice record and pray for those people in a voice recording, and then send it to them. Instead of just typing, "Hey, we'll pray for you," we actually, we prayed for them, recorded it, and sent it to them. Just trying to go the extra mile. You know what I mean? Just trying to do more than just, "Hey, we'll pray for you," which that's not wrong, but just go above and beyond. The point being is that there's all kinds of ways of doing things like that. And I think we should. And so I want you to really help us as we try to engage people where they are, whether it's in public or whether it's, through texting or on socials or whatever. We want to engage people where they are. And I encourage, that's why here lately in our church, I've been really trying to make more of a habit to say more often, or put in a bulletin, share or subscribe or share, get it, because I want to encourage people. Hey, everybody in this church is on social media of some type, nearly everybody. Put it out there. Put it out there.
I've seen for the Wagner last Sunday night, when they were in that church, I was watching their service. And I don't know if he does it every service, but he did that night. He said, I think they sung a hymn, and then he got up and talked. It was like, maybe the choir sung, and then he got up. So it was like maybe a song, and then he said, I want to ask, a favor of everybody. He said, make sure that you put your phone on silent, so don't interrupt the service. And he said, get your phone, and we'll share the service real quick. Go share it real quick. Then put your phone on silent, and let's put it away. Something like that. I don't know exactly how he said it, but
well, I know what you're talking about.
He encouraged them to go share the service, but then let's make sure it's on silent, and let's put the phone down.
It's amazing. I don't know if you can see it, like if you look at our church's account from your account, I don't know if they'll show you the numbers. They may, but I know when I log in on the church's account, I can see it on there. But how many views and things? Can you see that when you log? Yeah, it's amazing if you have just even 5 people share something. The number of views just jumps exponentially. It's huge. It's unreal. And so I like that. And so he's encouraging the folks there.
His Sunday night service was what,
Mhm.
worship with, you see how he says, and but he does do something like that. He says,
Just share or
just
something.
few announcements real quick, it's really fast, he talks fast anyway, and he don't ponder upon it, he says, let's check our phones, make sure they're on silent, if you want to share the services real quick, then let's
It's
go
great.
away.
I like
It's just quick, short, you know.
I like that. I do. I think it's wonderful.
Church I come from,
I can find it out.
most people in there don't carry a Bible. They always have the scripture up on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
and people have 2 or 3 Bible apps on their phone.
Yep.
That's what they read,
Mm-hmm.
their phone. That way you already got, always have a Bible with them.
Covered even if people don't have a Bible, they're still covered, right? I have a Bible app on my phone. A couple of them. But I mean, that's just the world we live in. Everything's connected. Everything is digital and connected that way, and that's not going to change. It is not. Sure. The world is going to continue to be connected. Yeah. So, on that point of social media, a couple things. One is just this. Of course, make sure we have a good testimony on social media. It's hard to. I ain't gonna lie. It aggravates the devil out of me when I see people cursing, swearing, carrying on one post, and then the next post is, "Oh, how I love Jesus." Yeah. That's not a good testimony. It's terrible. But so let's make sure we have a good testimony online. I try not now. I mean, there are times I may comment a few back and forth with people or something. I don't do that often, but every now and again I might go back and forth a little, but I try not to argue with people. If it gets to that point, I don't, no, it's not necessary. But arguing and fussing and all that, it's not good. And I want to keep a good testimony online as well as in person. And then as you have a good testimony and, you use that for the Lord, then by all means share things from the church and help me as well, to not only share it, but to have, let's brainstorm on different ways we can get content to people. So it's not just like everything we post is, y'all come here, but it's like what we're posting is, hey, we're trying to help you there. You follow? That's turning this thing around, And anyway, help me work on that. And then if anybody's interested in sharing their testimony online, I really want to start on that and start, like I said, setting it up, microphone, video, clean it, do it nice, all that good stuff. All right? And it could be a salvation testimony. It could be a prayer God's answered for you. I mean, there's all kinds of ways of encouraging people. We want to work at it. So anyway, help me with those things, and let's share our church's content and things like that. The Lord's churches, the content that we have here for the Lord's church. But let's work at it. All right. Well, guys, it's about 11:40. We're near 11:40. So this last little session, I've kind of rambled, but I enjoy it. But I'm gonna let Wendy Lou get a bite to eat ready, if you don't mind, and then that way we can